Hello and welcome to this tutorial on how to make a custom livery in Assetto Corsa Competizione. Now this is not just an in-game design custom livery, because you can make your own custom livery in-game, but this is how to do one from scratch, add your own sponsors, how to do it outside of the game to then have it in the game. I'll also show how you can make your own custom livery using the in-game livery editor as well. You still have to do it outside, but you can still use the base designs in-game. You don't have to always start from scratch. So I'll show you the two ways of doing it. I'm doing this video because a lot of people don't know how to do the custom liveries, and I think custom liveries are great. You can see people's artistic skills and their own liveries. You can show off your own liveries, and more people are using them in racing. And myself, I'm going to open a community on Sim Racing GP, so please subscribe, and there'll be an update on that. And in my community, we'll be able to share each other's liveries so that when we do a race together, we can all see each other's custom liveries, which I think will look really cool in replays and videos. So to do the custom livery, first of all, boot up Assetto Corsa Competizione, go into single player, and it doesn't matter whether you're in 2018, 2019, 2020, any of these. If you want to do a GT4 car, obviously choose GT4. This works with GT3, GT4, and even the 2020 Evo cars. Can do any car. So choose any, and then go on to team, and then click add, and then choose whatever car you want to make this custom livery on. You can make more than one. You don't, so just choose whichever one you have in mind at the moment. So I'll just go, let's say, the BMW, for example. And you'll get to this in-game livery editor, basically. So do the basic things you always do. So car number, I always go for 123. Team name, baseRoughness, which is mine. Obviously, you put in your number, your team name. You can do your nationality. I'm not going to bother, but do your nationality, your cup. Sponsors, doesn't matter. Banner, you can't change. So your banner, if you want a Fanatec one, select that one, because that's one thing that you can't change outside the livery editor. Design, so this is where you have the choice. If you want to start from scratch, you can skip ahead to where I show you how to do it from scratch. If you want to use a base design, then stay and I'll show you how to do the base design. So let me just quickly create one. I'll just create one with the normal colors I usually use. So it's like one in Satin Metallic. The second one, 248 Metallic, and then the trim 82 Chrome. So say this is my design. I can use any. So say I want to use, let's just use this one, for example, design 4 with the Fanatec banner, and this is the car I want to use. It looks great, but it looks weird because you've got no sponsors on it, and race cars, apart from like the base sponsors, are always on the car. So once you've got this, if you're going to do it from scratch, just fill in car number, team name, nationality, cup, and you can leave all this blank because it doesn't matter for you because you're going to do it from scratch. But still, get to this point, click save, and go back. And to find your car, it should be select what car model you're in. So for example, I've made a Nissan before. So if I go Nissan 2018, there's my team one, that, as you can see, custom sponsors on it. If it doesn't come to your own team one, it'll come onto like something like an actual team, like KCMG here. You just click on the team. It'll have the Assetto Corsa logo, and then it'll have whatever your team name is. So it's baseRoughness, and then you can find your team one. So if I go back, click on BMW, there we are, I'm on the Wankelhorst Motorsport car. I'll click on it, Assetto Corsa Competizione, baseRoughness, and there's my baseRoughness car. That's how you get to it in game. So that's basically how you do it in game. Now I'll show you where to go to do it, to add your own sponsors. So you want to go to your documents. It doesn't matter where you have your game. Like for example, for me, I have my game in my D drive. I don't have it in my local C drive, the main drive. But always go to your main documents. And in your documents, you will have Assetto Corsa Competizione. Click on that. Then you have this. You click on customs. And then you have cars, controls, drivers, liveries. The two we're interested in is cars and liveries. So if I click on cars, there's the list of cars. If you've made in-game cars before, there'll be lots here. To know which one's yours, first of all, the first number is always the number it starts with. So obviously I chose 1, 2, 3, so it'll be one of the 1, 2, 3 ones. But the easiest way to find is look at the date modified. So today, 16th at 1:17, it's currently 1:19, so that's definitely the one I've just done now. Double click to open that, and it'll open usually a notepad. I think every Windows computer has a notepad, and it'll look like something like this. It looks very complicated, it's not, trust me. And there's only 2 things you really need to, obviously you can edit the race number and stuff, but you can do that in game, so you don't need to do it on here. But the 2 important things are skin template key and custom skin name. Those are the 2 important things. So firstly, custom skin name. Now this, you can name it whatever you want, but to make it easier, if you're going to go online league racing, or like I said, if you join my community, so we know whose car's who, the easiest way I always name it is hashtag your number, the surname of whatever you're running in the game. So obviously I just run my own name in the game, so my surname's Watson, and then another underscore, and then the car you're running. So if you're running the BMW like me, you can put in BMW, or you can put in, I'm just going to put in, to make it shorter, M6, because there's only one M6 in the game. If you're running something like the Lamborghini or the Mercedes that has several versions, just put in like AMG 2015 for the 2015 Mercedes, AMG 2020 for the 2020 Mercedes, just so we can differentiate which car you're using. So that's all you need to do in custom skin name at the moment, and you close it, save it, and it'll be there. Then we go back. So again, we're in documents that of course are customs, but instead of cars, you go into liveries. Now, for me, it's already created a livery because I already did a test run, but sometimes this isn't here. So let me just fully delete this file like it wasn't here. So sometimes it isn't there, it doesn't create it by yourself. So all you do is right click, new folder, and name it exactly the same as the custom skin name. So hashtag 123 underscore your surname and the car. I mean, you can name it whatever you want, but a lot of leagues I know use that because it's easy to see car number, driver name, and what car they're driving. And in here, you'll obviously have a blank folder. And what you need is, you need these JSON files, the decals and the sponsors. Obviously, if you don't have any other cars, you can't just do like I just normally grab these ones from a different file, copy, and paste them in here. But if you don't have that, go to the cars one, copy and paste this one, and just delete everything from it. Because what you need is this. Now, I will leave in the description of this video the different materials, because basically this is for the material. So you know how when I was selecting the actual base livery, there was what was it? It was matte, glossy, satin metallic, chrome, clear chrome. This is what these are for. Now these are for not for the car base, so you can't, if you want to change the car base ones, you do that in game. This is for the decals and the sponsors. So if you're doing it from scratch, for example, and you want to paint the car from scratch in whatever software you're using, so for example, say you're going to use the decals as the paint, then obviously this is where, so it's like if you want a chrome car, you want to make this bit chrome, so that when you start, the paint that you paint the car in game will be chrome. Same with the sponsors. You can make the sponsors exactly the same. You can make them chrome, metallic, so on and so on. Now I'll leave in the description the different number, I don't know how to say it, they're like different combinations, that's the word, the different number combinations and what they mean. I'll leave that in the description so you can literally just highlight it, copy and paste it into your files. And that's basically what you need. You need one file in cars, which will have your car with your custom skin name, and one file in liveries named the same as the custom skin name with a decals and sponsor JSON file. Now, to do it from scratch, if you want to do it from scratch, so you didn't bother doing a livery in game because you're doing it from scratch, all you need to do is go back to cars, select on the car, and the other thing that I said was very important, the skin template key. So here I've got 103. 103 was design 4, for example, that I used. You just want to change that to 99. Doesn't matter what car you're in, change it to 99, and it's basically a blank canvas, aka fully carbon. So I'll close that again, remember to save it, and I'll go back. And let me just go back into the game. So as you can see here at the moment, it's still got the red, but if I go back to the main menu, single player, there we are. My BMW now is just fully carbon, fully black. Like I said, the only thing that that you can't really change is the Fanatec on the, this is if I go into edit, I can still change the banner, as you can see. But I can't change anything else because I've fully removed everything. Even the base sponsors are gone. Only downfall of starting from scratch is you can't change the wheel colors, so the wheel has to stay black. It doesn't matter whether I change it, and same with the accents around the wheels, they change black. So if you want to paint the wheels or the accents around the wheels, I suggest using an in-game, because you can always paint over the in-game paint, but it's very nice starting from blank, in my opinion, when you want to make your own livery. And also it's quite nice if you want to leave some parts carbon, because it looks really cool. You know, if you want to keep a fully carbon bonnet or something, it looks really good. Auxiliary lights still work, as you can see. Auxiliary lights are one that you can still use, but apart from that, now the car is fully carbon. So how do you edit car outside the game? So again, if you've used the in-game editor, then you do the same thing now, except your car will have the base design that you've put on it, and if you're using fully carbon, then it'll look like this. So this is where you can leave Assetto Corsa open, like I said. I just always suggest to go back to the main menu and then go back when you make changes, just so the game loads it. Because if you stay in the other menu, it can be a bit weird sometimes, but you can keep the game open. So this is where you need a software that you can edit on. Now, if you have Photoshop, great, use Photoshop. If you don't have Photoshop and you don't want to pay for Photoshop, do what I do and use GIMP. It's free. I will put a link in the description so you can download it. It's completely free and it works pretty much exactly the same as Photoshop. And I'll show you pretty much, because that's how I'm using. I'll show you pretty much how to use that. If you use Photoshop, I think things are very similar. I mean, if you have Photoshop, you're clearly quite skilled in it, I'm guessing, so you should be able to work your way around. If you want to really see on Photoshop, I will leave also in the description a video to Boonatix's video on this. He's the one that showed me how to do custom liveries, and he made a video and he uses Photoshop. So if you're watching mine and you're a bit confused where things are on Photoshop, watch his video because he does it in Photoshop, so it's easier. But if you want free software like GIMP, stick around and I'll show you how to do it. So first things as well, in the description again, I will put a link to Boonatix has a Google Drive, shared Google Drive, with all the wireframes of the GT3 cars, the GT4 cars, and the 2020 Evo cars. And that's what you will need. So we'll quickly hop to the shared Google Drive. So as you can see, I've got GT3 car templates and GT4 wireframes here. So these are what I need to do it. So GT3, because that's what my BMW is. So I'll click on it and see I have a list of the cars here. So I look for BMW, here it is. It's all in alphabetical, BMW M6 GT3, and you'll have a PNG and a PSD. PNG is a picture, so you don't want that, you want PSD. Click on that, it'll show you the wireframe. It looks confusing, it's a lot less confusing than, don't be scared. I was scared of making a custom livery the first time. I was like, God, I'm not good enough for that. It's very, very easy. Half of these are internal parts of the car and parts that you don't even need to touch. And then you download it. Obviously mine will say, do you want to open with GIMP? Yep. If you have Photoshop, it will say, do you want to open with Photoshop? And click OK. Download it, it's opening it. It'll ask you here, convert or keep, click keep, and here we are. You've got it here in GIMP. Now the two, design and sponsor, the two I always tend to use, but I tend to use new layers anyway, just so then if you make a mistake, it's very easy to just delete the layer and then restart it. But I tend to put sponsors above the UV, which is the wireframe, and the design just underneath, because if you put the design above on things like here, that's the rear wing, this bit here, but one side's the underside of the rear wing and one side's the top of the rear wing. So you like to know, because it's split, so if I put that above, I can't tell. Also, if you use GIMP, you might have this weird thing where the box is only around this certain area on design, and same on sponsors. You just go up to layer, and you go on to layer to image size, and then do the same for design. Layer to image size. Because if you want to do, like if you're doing it from scratch, like I'm going to now, with a full carbon car, you want to paint on design, for example. You can create your own layer, like I said, which it's down here. And see, create new layer, fill with transparency, and then you can design on that. I tend to do it on design or sponsor, just because you can still just remove the certain mistake you made or whatever. So this is basically what it's going to look like. So I've got it for BMW, yours will be for your own car. And from here, basically, yeah, do what you want, really. So I'll quickly show you how I do it using GIMP, and I'm guessing Photoshop will be very similar. So if you're starting from scratch, you obviously want to paint the car and not keep it fully carbon. I'm obviously not going to go and paint the whole car because it'll take forever, because it does take a while if you want to make a good job. So I'll just do it briefly. So say I want to paint the bonnet purple, for example, this purple color I've got up here. I will use this paths tool, and I'll click to create a path around the whole bonnet. If you want to include, things like the wheel arches, then just go around that as well. I like to do each part individually, just because then if you want to make little tweaks, you can do that. But yeah, so just go around the whole bonnet. And when you join this end bit, click shift, hold shift down, and then click on the one you first started with, and it will rejoin it, and then hit enter, and it will select the whole section. And then select the paintbrush tool is what I do. Here you've got hardness if you want to create a fade effect or something. You can if I remove the hardness a bit, so you can create a fade effect. If you're very good at designing, you can do stuff like that. You can select circle and stuff like that, and then just use the rubber tool, and that can just remove it. But say I want to paint the whole bonnet purple. I don't want any design on it, I just want to paint it purple. So can I use the fill? No, I don't know if you can use the fill, but you can definitely use the brush. Even I can make the brush even huge. So if you can see here, the brush literally takes up the whole thing. But because I've selected this bonnet, when I click it, it will only paint this bonnet area. Now, for example, here I'm doing it on the sponsors layer. So when I do it, it will cover these two sponsors here. If you want to keep that to make it look more authentic, then do exactly like I said. Create new layer with a transparent background, and hold shift, link together, hit enter, and there you are. Paint, boom, and then as you can see, the sponsors are now above the bonnet still. Well, above the bonnet color. So obviously I want the bonnet to be purple. Now if you've got the base design, you can add color on top of the design. I'm pretty sure, I think you can. Yeah, you definitely can. Yeah, you can add. So say you've used a bit in-game base design, but you want purple bonnet still, you can do this, and this purple bonnet will go over the paint layer in-game. So if you want to add sponsors, go into open as layer. I go into my pictures. I've got one called car sponsors. Basically go on the internet and find a sponsor, preferably a PNG, so it has a clear background. In GIMP you can remove the background. It's quite easy to remove the background. There's videos out there on how to the easy features of GIMP. But yeah, so if I click on car sponsors, so obviously here I've got the Golden Heart jewelry sponsors, and HKS, blah blah blah. Say I want the Union Jack flag though, I want a bit of a nice Union Jack flag. So I get it, here it is. And say I want to place it on the roof. Now the roof is a bit of annoying in this BMW because it has this gap here, which where is it? That bit of the roof is somewhere else in the. I'll show you how to find what part. Oh, here it is. So this is so obviously with this, I'd have to like cut out this bit of the Union Jack, for example, and then place it there so that it's symmetrical, so that when it's on the car, because here if I just stick it like this, this bit will all be Union Jack, but this bit will still be black because that's here. So I'll show you how to do that. So firstly, if you want to make it bigger or smaller, depending where you want to fit it, you right click on the actual layer, scale layer. So I'm going to make this slightly bigger. And again, use the paths tool. Select the area that you want to put this. If it's a sponsor like this, like a Union Jack, for example, that you want to fill a whole area, like I'm going to do with the roof, you select it like this, go back on the grab tool, grab it here, and you'll see the outline of the roof. So you see here, it fits perfectly in the roof. And there we go. Now here, I don't know what this will naturally be on, but the two that you use the most is rotate, if you want to rotate something. And if you right click and scale. Scale is what you use here. I click on scale and it'll select obviously the area that I highlighted with the path tool. Just move it a tiny bit. It doesn't have to be much. Just move it a tiny bit to leave the background. Click enter. And you see down here, it'll say floating selection. You want to click this green new layer and it'll call it transformation. Now the old Union Jack, I can right click and delete it. And there we are. I've only got the transformation. It's the shape of the roof and it fits perfectly. Again, if I want this bit obviously to be on the roof still, so I want it to be on this bit, you do exactly the same. Paths tool. Across here. Obviously I'm not doing it that accurately, but select it. Put the Union Jack on it, on the roof to see where it lines up. Here we go. There, it's exactly there. Again, scale tool, click on it, just make it a tiny bit bigger. Click enter. Floating selection. Yep, there we are. Make sure it's still on the transformation. Use the grab tool. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, if it doesn't work, it's because you didn't move it enough. So if I just go back to the layer, scale, you just need to make it. You need to make it big enough that it makes it a different layer. I don't know if that did again. Scale again. That. Enter. Make it big enough because you can readjust it, but if you don't make it big enough when you create as a new layer, you won't be able to separate it. If you don't make it big enough, it still thinks it's just part of this layer here, because you can rescale it. So here, there, I've got the roof and I've got the gap here. Grab this, stick it on here, and it should line up perfectly. If you want like your team name or something, so obviously I want it in white, again you can get rid of the background color. So if you're doing writing in white like me, select, I'm just going to put bears, I'm not going to put the full bears racing, just to show you briefly. Put bears, stick it on the side of the door. Obviously if you're in the text tool, you can choose the font, you can choose the size, the color of the text, all of that. Other side of the car obviously has to be reversed because as you can see it's facing upwards. So what I tend to do is I right click on the layer, duplicate the layer, grab it over here to the other side, to the other door, and then here. Now currently it's on scale, so I just right click, or if you want a shortcut, Shift R, rotate it, click on it, angle, I want to rotate by 180, click enter, and there we are. Now it's facing the other direction and it'll be the right way up. So say this is the decals I want on the car. Then that's it. That's pretty much what you want to do. You want to make the decals, and that's the way it's going to look. Say you want stripes or something, it's very easy as well. Like say you want to actually make it more designer. So I select this this rectangle tool, for example. They're probably not going to be symmetrical, but I select this rectangle tool here, fill with white. There we are. You can either do it again, or you can, if it's this, I've obviously done it part of this layer. I probably should have done it as a separate layer. If you've done it as a individual layer, you can just, like I show you, duplicate it. But since I've done it part of that layer, say I just grab another one, go, fill, white. Now I'm gonna have white stripes on the bonnet. So say this is the design I want to do. I just want to have the name and the Union Jack and then a purple bonnet with stripes. So you go onto this side bit and you remove the wireframe. This design will just be so the wing that is black and that's black. Obviously, if you're doing it from scratch, it doesn't matter because these aren't here anyway. But if you leave it here, then these will be there again. So if you don't want the black on this bit, then just remove the design. You don't want the sponsors because that's going to be on the sponsor one. And you don't want the background colors. So make them so you can only see what you've done. It'll be this transparent background of what you've done. Then you go on File, Export As, and you find your documents. You find that Assetto Corsa Competizione, Customs, and this is in liveries, and you find the one you've just made. So hashtag 123 Watson M6, and you're gonna save it. So this one, that's the paint and everything, you want to save it as decals.png. Now, whatever you chose in the JSON file, like, you know, the number combination that will make it glossy. I don't remember what mine is because I just copied and pasted from another card. But say it was Chrome, then these decals will all be Chrome. Click Export. Interlacing. Remember to select interlacing. It's the same on Photoshop. And then click Export. Now we go back into Assetto Corsa. Single player. My BMW. There you can see. So it was Chrome. So the bez is in Chrome. The bonnet's in Chrome Purple. I've got the white stripes on it. And you can see the Union Jack, okay, it doesn't fit perfectly because obviously I didn't really take my time to match it up. But as you can see, I did fill this little square. But as you can see, like, because I didn't match it up perfectly, it's a bit off. But the good thing with this is that I can literally just click confirm, go back into the main menu, edit this square a tiny bit or something. Obviously, put on the wireframe so you know where it is and stuff. Remove the wireframe again. File, export as decal. So whatever changes you make, you just re-export it, go back on, single player. There we are, I've changed it. It still obviously doesn't fit, but any changes you make, it's so easy. You just make sure you leave this page to the main menu just so you don't freeze the game. Make a little change. So you move that up or something. Obviously, again, like I said, always put on the wireframe so you know what you're doing. I accidentally moved the whole wireframe there. So see, I want to put that down there or something, or if you want to rotate it, you can rotate it. Remove the wireframe before you export it. Export to decals.png. Go back into the game. Single player, the car. There, I've moved it. It's in a different position. So that's basically how you do that. Now, so obviously the car's got no sponsors on now. This is just if you paint. If you're using a base layer, then I say decals. Basically, if you want to paint a part of the car a different color, or if you want to add the car name in a certain texture. So for example, if you want the car name in Chrome but you want the sponsors in matte or something, then I tend to use that. So I tend to use decals for the car the car name. Well, if you put the team name on the car, you don't have to. A lot of teams don't have the team name, they just have a logo. But things like that, if you want if you want certain things in one color and certain things in a different color, and you're using the in-base design, then you can use that. So you use the decals and sponsors for two different textures. So for sponsors, so obviously I back out, and you'll probably, I'm just going to reset this wireframe, but I suggest always file and saving it and keep as a GIMP or a Photoshop file. Just if you ever want to go back in the future and add a sponsor or change something, you've got the editing here, so you don't have to restart everything from scratch. So I suggest to either save this and then do what I'm going to do, or open just a whole different, like the same wireframe, just go back and re-download the BMW or whatever car you're doing wireframe. But just for me, because obviously I'm not going to use this car quickly, I'm just going to delete all the layers apart from sponsor and design, the base ones that are there. There. So select none, so it's nothing selected. So for sponsors, exactly the same. So say I'm just going to quickly just add a couple of sponsors. I like to add the Sennheiser logo on. Obviously, remember to put it above the UV on the rear bonnet, on the rear wing. Rotate it 90 degrees. If it doesn't fit, right click, scale layer. Let me make it 90 or something. I think that might fit. There we are, and it fits. Obviously, I don't know which part here is the top or the bottom of the wing. If you want to know that, just get the paintbrush. Make sure to do it on like the sponsors one. Make it a small size, and write numbers on it. So say I want to put a sponsor on like the what's it called? Like the, you know, the side bits of the rear wing. Obviously, one of these is going to be the inside that you won't see, and one of these is going to be the outside. Now, how do I know which is which? Well, you just write a number 1 on this bit. Say I think this is the outside, and then write number 2 on the inside bit. Same if there's any parts that you don't know. So like I don't know which part of this is the top or the bottom of the rear wing. So I'll put whatever. And let's see, is there any other parts that could use? I mean, the bonnet, the front of the car is quite obvious. I don't know, like these parts here, so you don't know what it is, just label them, just put numbers. Like I think I know this is a bit under the rear wing, but say I didn't know, I'll put 3 on here. Say I didn't know where about on the back of the car this is, I'll put number 4 on there, 5 on the other side. Things like that. That's really easy. And then once you know where it is, you just select the rubber tool and obviously rub it out, and that's how you know. But yeah, it's the same sponsor, so put that. Say I want the Golden Heart Jewelry logo. This is how I'm going to show you how to remove it. So if you have a file that's not a PNG, or a picture, should I say, for a sponsor that's not a PNG, so it doesn't have a clear background, I always use the fuzzy select tool. It differentiates 2 different colors. So always make sure when you right click on the actual layer, first of all, add alpha channel. By adding an alpha channel, you make the background clear and transparent. Use the fuzzy select tool. So here there's clearly a yellow and a black. Click on the black, click delete, and now I've just got the heart. It's harder if it's something like this where it has different shades of yellow inside, because it doesn't see the heart as one big color because it's different shades. So it's a bit harder but if it's like a clear sponsor that's like white with a black background, just select the black background and you can just delete it, and then just click select none, and you've got it here. So say where do I want to put this? So obviously I've got the Bez Racing is still going to be on the side of the car, so I don't want to put that there. Let's say I want to put the heart on the side here, so I'll just scale layer. I'll make it 100. Then a little smart heart here or something. And then again, like I said, duplicate the layer. You can rotate it, and you can do whatever you want, you know, just put it where you want here, and then I'm just going to rotate by 180 just so it's the right way up. And there we are. So that's the sponsors I'll hit, and then put the Sennheiser. I don't know if that's the top or the bottom, I'll find out in the car. Again, remove the wireframe, remove the design if you don't want the design, remove everything, background color. And all you want to keep this time is the base sponsors, if you want the base sponsors. If you don't want them, I think it looks cool with the base sponsors because you have like Pirelli and stuff. If you want to change the positioning of the base sponsors, then just remove those and find a Pirelli PNG or total PNG and place them wherever you want. And same with this one here. This one I quite like because it makes it look very authentic. But I'm going to just keep the base sponsors. And obviously I've got the numbers to see what parts of the car that is. So here, file, export as, in the same document. So just to show you again, Assetto Corsa, customs, liveries, your car, and you'll have the Decals one. Exactly the same, except instead of decals.png, sponsors.png. Export. If you're starting from a scratch wireframe, it'll ask you again to, if you want interlacing, make sure that's always ticked. If you're using the same wireframe like me, it'll already be ticked. Export. Let me go to the game, single player, on the BMW, and there you are. See, like, obviously if I check the heart, it's not straight, it's up there because of the arc. But as you can see, number 5, okay, I know number 5 is exactly there, so if I put the heart there, it'll probably look better. As you can see, number 2 was the outside, and number 1 was the inside, so I know now number 3, like I said, is under the rear wing. So yeah, so now I know which part. If you can't see a number you label, then it's probably an internal part or a like duct or something. So if you want to paint these ducts, for example, then write a number to fat on different things. You'll see a number, you're like, okay, that's that. So that's where I know. That's basically it, really. That's how simple it is. And once you've created your own car, you'll have something like I showed you the Nissan, I'll show you the Mercedes. And you'll have something that looks like this. So for this one example, we used a in-game based design instead of starting from scratch. Added some sponsors to it. But you see, I used the in-game design, but then to differentiate from mine and my teammate's Nate car, I used, I think, the sponsor one, because I think the sponsors are in satin. I used the sponsor layer to paint the wing mirrors and the rear wing, and his for green and mine for purple to match the auxiliary lights. So it's things like that. So even if you use in-game based design, you can paint over the car certain colors if you want to add certain colors to the car, and you can add your name. You can add whatever you want, really, and there you are. And that's basically how you do custom livery from scratch. So obviously in-game design, it'll look something like this, and if you're doing from scratch, then obviously depending, like if I painted it fully, all the parts, obviously I wouldn't have as much carbon fiber, but if you want to keep carbon fiber, again, and that's basically all you need. A couple Q&A answers really is, a lot of people say, can other people see my custom liveries? No, unless you share it. So basically, if you're using an in-game based design, so for example, if I'm using, let me go onto the AMG, for example, this that we created in-game, the base layer, people will be able to see our car with the red, the black, and the chrome around the lights, but they won't see any of the sponsors. They won't see the purple that I've added out of the game. They won't see the Union Jack flag I've added there. They won't see anything of that. They'll just see this. If you're doing it from scratch, so say you fully do your car. So say your car started carbon like this one, and then you designed it so it looks like this. They won't see any of it if you do it all out of the game. They will literally just see the carbon fiber. That's the problem. So it's like if you're using an in-game one, they will see the base colors. But if you're using one if you'd made a whole livery from scratch, they'll only see the carbon. For them to see it, you have to share the livery files. It's not that hard, but obviously if you're in open lobbies, I suggest just using a already game car like team, because it saves time. There's not as much lag when joining a session, because you can get joining lag if people are using custom designs. But if you're doing league racing, or like I said, I'm going to create my own community, and we're going to use custom liveries, then I'll probably make a shared Google Drive, like the one with the wireframes, but for liveries. So I'll name a file whatever race we're doing. So say a race we're doing is at Monza, I'll be like Monza race, and then I'll put the date of what date that Monza race, and everyone upload your livery files to that Google Drive, and about an hour before the race, go in there once everyone's done all their liveries, because everyone should be done before an hour before the race, download them all onto your game, and then you should be able to see everyone's liveries plus like the designs and plus the sponsors and everything in the game. So yeah, that's pretty much it. In single player, you can always see your own. It's just other people won't be able to see it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, I'll leave in the description below a link to the Google Drive with all the wireframes. I will leave the different numbers for the textures, for the decals and the sponsors, and a link to the free download of GIMP for those that don't have anything to do the editing on. And if you've seen this video later, like way after I've posted it, in my community is already up, I'll leave a link to the community on Sim Racing GP. If you want to join it, join our Discord. And it's going to be very amateur based, so don't worry if you're new to the game, you're not great. It's going to be very amateur based because I'm not exactly the best driver out there, so we want just somewhere that people that are new to the game can have a clean race, because I feel like open lobbies you're always getting crashed into. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. That's my tutorial on how to create your own custom livery on Assetto Corsa. If you enjoyed, please leave a like. If you're new here, subscribe to stay and be part of the community and watch upcoming videos. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.